Today we're going to walk you through building a Christmas tree stand out of a couple of 2x4s. Stick with us. Hi, welcome to the Handyverse, where we turn to DIY as a first resort to learn how to do things to help improve our home and hopefully inspire you to do the same in your own living space. A couple of years ago we built this tree stand. Did the job well. It's quite simple. We're going to do an upgraded version of it this year. But if you're not comfortable with a saw, this is a great place to start. We'll put a link to that video up in the corner here now. But for this one today, we're going to build one with a hexagonal base and 6 pieces as part of the pinwheel on the top. To build this, all you're going to need are 2 2x4s and 6 lag screws. And I started by pre-cutting our 2x4s into 6 15-inch pieces each, just to make it easier to manage and make it easier to show you how to do it. And now we're going to get out the chop saw and cut the angles on that. So I've set up my miter saw to show you how I do this. I've clamped it to the bench to make sure it doesn't move, and then I've also clamped a stopper down here at the end, just some scrap 2x4s that's set to a 15-inch length here on this cut. The angle of the saw set to 30 degrees, and having it set up this way means I can just run through the 6 pieces for the base and quickly cut them. Now with those pieces cut, I'm going to glue them together and also nail them. You can use really whatever you have. If you have nails, great. Screws are fine. This piece here is not going to take any strain. It's just the base piece that sits on the floor. So as long as it's held together, it should be good to go. Okay, so that's it for the base. It's basically done. One tip when cutting the slants: if you keep the stamped side up, that side will be on the inside when you finish your base. So not that this is going to win any awards for looking pretty, but at least it'll look a little bit better if the wood isn't stamped on the outside. Okay, onto the setup for the pinwheel. Same idea, got the saw clamped down. It's still set to 30 degrees on a slant. I have the block set as a stopper, and the distance I have is set to about 14.5 inches this time. So when I do the math, about 14.25 inches will give us a 4-inch diameter hole in the middle, so I'm going slightly bigger than that. The big thing to remember on the pinwheel is that you only do one side. Don't cut the slant on both sides. So here we go. And now I'm set up for the final cut, which is simply a decorative 45 I want to cut on here. So I've returned the saw upright to 0 degrees, but I've rotated here to 45. I've set the stopper to just kind of an arbitrary length. I just want to take this here corner off to make it a little bit more decorative. Anyway, I use that kind of jokingly in a 2x4 tree stand, but then the other thing when you're cutting these, you want to make sure you're consistent in how you cut it. So I will always have this slant up this way against the blocker to make sure I cut them all consistently. With those pieces cut, what you want to do is get some scrap wood, 2x4s, put them underneath to allow you to prop it up, and then set your base down and lay out the boards in the pattern that they're going to be used in the end. The reason you do this is because if you had a different length than I did here, you want to figure out at what point you're going to connect these together. These pieces will be offset from the middle of the board, and you just lay them out in this pattern until you get it right. For mine, this here space is about 3.5 inches. So what I want to do is I'm going to use 2.5 inch screws to hold these together. You want to use screws for this point because this is going to be load bearing, so you want this securely fastened. So I'm going to use screws and glue, and so 3.5 inches in for the board itself, and then another inch in. I'm going to drill 2 holes straight down through this. Mark this side to attach the boards, and then I'm just going to continue around in that pattern. Okay, my pinwheel is together. Next step is to drill holes down through here so I can screw into the base. You'll notice when I was putting the pinwheel together, or maybe you didn't notice, but if you're watching closely, you'll see that I ran into some problems here with the screws. The holes I had drilled were straight through. I just had to drill pilot holes on an angle so I could get at them to screw into the other piece. I was hitting this piece when I was trying to get the screws in that way. So, not a big deal, fixed now, but something to keep in mind when you're making your own. Now, let's drill these holes here so we can attach it to the base, and then we're almost done. Okay, that is attached. Last step is to drill some holes in the middle for our lag bolts. We're going to put 6 in, 1 in each of these flats. And to do that, we're going to drill in through here, but we're going to alternate, so 1 high and then 1 low as we go around doing these holes. So 1 here. When I go to the next one, I'm going to put it lower. The reason for that is to keep the tree more stable once you have it installed in the stand. Okay, Okay, so we have our Christmas tree cut off. We got cut about 1 inch off the bottom to allow water to come up through. We have a couple of holes, a few holes drilled to allow water in through the sides. Since it's already cut, I'm just going to put a piece of scrap wood underneath here so there's enough room for the bowl to sit underneath. And we're just going to lift it up, set it down, and tighten the lag screws. Alright, tree's up. So that wasn't too bad, a little bit more complicated than our other one, but a lot nicer, we think anyway. If you would like to see how to make a tree skirt for it, we have a video, we'll put that up on the screen right now. And if you want something similar but a little bit easier, then we'll put a link to the other one that we did a couple of years ago up to help you out there as well. A couple things with this. I would have made the hole a little bit smaller next time around. I ended up having to get longer lag screws because these are going in on an angle and they didn't quite reach in. And then another tip when putting the tree in, if it's not starting to thread into the tree, just tap it with a hammer to get it started into the tree trunk and get a grip. So if you like this, hit like, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications whenever we put up a new video, and we'll see you the next time.